Hello, I've recently started taking Homeopathic Aricept. I first started taking Aricept homeopathically a number of years ago. I'm now 62. In my late 30s, I kept forgetting the names of objects regularly. I was also putting things in the wrong places. It was so bad that I did go to the doctor. And she just said, we all forget things. This is, there's nothing, we all forget things. But I felt something's not right. I think round about that time I developed ME, which I've continued to have for the last 25 years. And I do meet the criteria for ME because I have been assessed for ME, chronic fatigue syndrome. But when I went to see the doctor to have at the special clinic for chronic fatigue syndrome, I couldn't understand the instructions about taking tablets, how to take them. I was just confused, and it was very obvious, and I got the feeling from the doctor then that he felt there was something else going on, and I knew I met the criteria for ME, but he wouldn't say it, but it was just something in his body language and his attitude. I just felt that he felt there was something else going on. And to be honest, I felt there was something else going on as well, because the memory problems had got worse with the ME. Now, the memory problems can be a part of ME. It's one of the symptoms of ME, but one event where I went into the city centre to buy something, and when I arrived I couldn't remember why I was there. I told another doctor at the ME clinic about this, and I said I had no idea why I was in the centre of Leeds. I'd come there for something important and I couldn't remember to buy something, and she said, well, we all forget things. But again I thought, this is not good. I'm forgetting the names of objects. I can't remember things. It was normal. It'd been going on for years, whereby I couldn't remember the names of words and all sorts of things, and it was just normal. I continued to mention it to doctors from time to time, and they all kept saying to me, we all forget things. Now, I am 62, I live on my own, I'm unmarried, and I'm chronically sick with ME. I don't feel that any doctor's going to take me seriously, which is why I'm taking Aricept homeopathically. I do take homeopathic remedies for the symptoms of ME, chronic fatigue syndrome. To give you an example, I take arnica. Arnica is for pain, it's for bruising, the pain, you feel that you're bruised all over. I take a whole range of homeopathic medicines for the symptoms of ME, and they have made a huge difference. I've learnt a lot about homeopathic remedies. I'm not trained, I'm not qualified, but I have learnt a lot over many years. Now, a few years ago, the whole business with forgetfulness went to a whole new level because I was calling objects by the wrong names all the time, because people were telling me in shops, why are you calling a book a record? Why are you calling a blouse a skirt? And this was happening all the time. Every single day I was being told I was asking for things, and then I would argue back and say, I haven't asked for that, and say, you have asked for that. And I said, no, I don't want that. And they said, but you just asked for it in the shops. And it was happening every single day. It was embarrassing, because people were looking at me strangely, like, why are you asking for things? Why are you asking for things that you don't need? And I'm getting all muddled up. Over the years, people have told me again and again I seem disorientated, I don't know where I'm going, and to be honest, so often I am. And it's been going on for years, and I took Aricept a few years ago because so many people were telling me I'm using the wrong words, and I felt stupid, and I was all muddled up, and I was struggling to remember my phone number, things like this, and I'm thinking, what? I'm not being taken seriously, so I got some Aricept homeopathically from a proper pharmacy. Um, I'm not going to tell you the dosage because that would be probably unethical. But I started low, obviously cautious, as is the right way to be with homeopathy. You always start at the lowest potency. And I took it for 5 days. I thought, what harm can it do, as an experienced person who takes homeopathic medicines, to take it at the lowest potency for 5 days, take it 3 times a day, and just see if there anything happens, right? It can't do any harm for 5 days, lowest potency. Well, within a few days, it was fantastic because I could suddenly remember my phone number without any problems. And most importantly, people were stopped telling me in shops that I was using the wrong words. So that showed me that it had made a difference. I seemed a bit clearer in my mind. So I thought, well, I've taken it for 5 days. I'm feeling the impact of it. People have stopped telling me I'm using the wrong words for objects. And because it was years ago and I was sort of very, very cautious and nervous about where to go from there with the Aricept, I thought, what I'll do is I'll leave it. I won't take any more Aricept. I'll just see how it goes. Well, the problem is I live on my own. I'm isolated because of the ME. I'm bedbound most of the day, every day, because of the illness. And what's been happening, I have been getting worse. Now, I know it myself. I have been getting more and more confused. I don't, uh, uh, things like not knowing what day it is, not knowing whether it's morning or evening, not taking my tablets, not cleaning my teeth, disorientated, just not really, really bad. Now, things came to a head a few weeks ago because I couldn't have told you if I'd taken up my heart medication. I'd no idea. I couldn't remember when I last cleaned my teeth. I couldn't remember whether it was morning, evening. I couldn't remember what day it was. I felt weird. I was aware that my moods had changed. One day I seemed to be feeling sort of quite high and very sort of positive, and then the next day I'd be feeling, to be honest, suicidal. I'm feeling, well, what's the point of living? It's raining. It's miserable. It's raining. And what's the point of living? Perhaps I should just commit suicide. Now, I'm thinking, this is crazy. What's the matter with me thinking weird thoughts like this? And I've no idea what I'm doing. I'm just totally lost and bewildered. And it suddenly seems as if it's escalated. And I thought, well, there's no point going to the doctors because I've been so many times during the last 30 years. No, the last 20 years. For the last 20 years. And nobody will take me seriously. So, because it was so bad, I decided to go up a step with my potency. Bear in mind, I have a lot of experience with homeopathy for all the symptoms of ME. So I went to my usual pharmacy and I ordered a particular dosage of Aricept. right? Now, it's not advertised on the website. You do have to request it. You have to email the company. If you're in the same position as me, you have to email the company and ask them for it. And you have to, if you have to ask them, do they stock this Aricept? And what dosages do they stock it in, right? Because if you go online and do a search in the boxes, it will all come up no. And the reason why this is that um, it's considered, because how can I say, because homeopathy is very controversial anyway. They can't be seen, or they can't be seen to promote or advertise the selling of Aricept for dementia, because of what the general public will think about them and what investigative journalists will say, right? This is the problem. I was aware of all that, and I thought, I will just ask them, private email, can you make this up for me, please? Right? And I told them the potency, right? Because I'm experienced in homeopathy and I buy from them regularly. I know what I'm doing. And they said, yes, we do. And they told me exactly what dosages they can make up the remedy in, right? So I decided, because I was in such a bad state, to go, got a particular potency. I also got a even higher potency, right? This is to planning ahead. Because my symptoms, memory symptoms, and being not knowing where I'm coming and going is getting worse, it's not going to it's not going to recede, is it? It's going to gradually get worse. And I'm thinking to myself, be prepared, right? So I actually have 3 different dosages of Aricept, right? I am now on the 2nd dosage, the potency. I do know what I'm doing. I decided a couple of weeks ago, it's only 2 weeks ago, I thought I will start taking this higher potency, right, middle, right, it's not the highest potency, it's the middle range, because it's so severe. I thought I'll take it 1 tablet 3 times a day and just see what happens. I'll do it for 5 days and see. As an experienced homeopathic user, I know that within 5 days I should notice something, even very, very slightly. It doesn't mean that you feel completely better, but my experience of homeopathy is, with me, normally within the first 5 days, at some point, I will notice some improvement. And it could be so slight, but it doesn't matter, because any slight improvement is a good sign, because it means the remedy is working. Right? That's all I want to know. Is the remedy working? So I took the homeopathic remedy, 1 tablet 3 times a day, and within 2 days, the first thing I noticed was my mind felt clearer. I felt clearer. I could recall my phone number just like that. Just like that. No problem. I thought, this is fantastic. I also remembered to clean my teeth, which was a first, and it's been terrible for months and months and months. I just don't know. It's become a habit. I just don't know if I've cleaned my teeth. I've no idea. I've no idea if I've taken my tablets. It's really, really bad. The first thing I noticed the 2nd day was I suddenly thought, as I got up, I must clean my teeth. And I cleaned my teeth. Then I went into the kitchen. Must take my tablets. So I took my tablets. I thought, this is fantastic. Within 2 or 3 days, I'm cleaning my teeth and I am taking my tablets. So I continued, and it got even better because I was remembering to take my tablets at bedtime. And so after 5 days, I'm cleaning my teeth every day. I know I've definitely cleaned my teeth. I'm taking my tablets first thing in the morning, definitely. Last thing at night, definitely. Right? I'm remembering my phone number. I am remembering things. I'm remembering to do things. And it's fantastic. And I suddenly felt, after 5 or 6 days, like I was back to how I used to be. But how I used to be must have been years ago, because I felt like I'd gone back years and years and years. I thought, this is fantastic. I am remembering things. I am remembering to do things. Now, also, I noticed I've been continuing to take it once, 3 times a day for the last 2 weeks. What I've noticed is my mood has stabilised a little bit. I'm not high up and I'm not low down. I seem to be back to how I normally am. Because normally I am just the same every day. Obviously with the ME symptoms I can wake up and I'm feeling ill and I feel yucky and I feel awful. But that's because of the symptoms of the ME. I'm in pain, I've got a headache, I feel nauseous. So obviously you're going to feel a bit whoa. But what seems to have stabilised since I've been on the Aricept 2 weeks is I'm not over bright, like, wow, it's a wonderful day, and I'm not feeling very low, like, oh, it's raining, perhaps I should just commit suicide, what's the point of living? I mean, that is a weird way to think. I have never ever thought anything like that. I have never ever in my life, when it started to rain, and I live in the United Kingdom and it rains a lot, I have never ever thought to myself, it's raining, what's the point of living, I think I'll commit suicide. I have never thought anything like that. Rain never bothers me. I actually quite like it when it's raining. If I'm indoors and I think to myself, oh, isn't it nice and cosy, I'm all nice and warm indoors and it's pouring down with rain outside. But this is weird. And this is totally out of character, that I should have been contemplating committing suicide just because it's raining. That is odd by any stretch of the imagination. And it's because I had the insight to realise that it's odd, that led me to the conclusion to go for the Aricept again. Now what I've decided to do is continue taking the Aricept. I'm taking 1 3 times a day. And the great thing is, I'm remembering to take it. Because remember, if you can't remember things, how are you going to remember to take your Aricept? Because you need to take it in order to remember to take it. It's a vicious circle, isn't it? But I am now remembering to take it. I don't know if I'm taking it 3 times a day, but I know I'm definitely taking it twice a day. That's good. That is good. And I am taking my high blood pressure medication, which is really important. I'm remembering to take my statins, which is really important. I'm high risk of a heart attack. If I'm forgetting to take my blood pressure medication, if I'm forgetting regularly to take my statins, if I have a heart attack, I will die. There's no doubt about it. So remembering to take statins and taking my blood pressure medication and the thyroid medication is really important. If I don't take my thyroid medication, I will put on weight. And the weight I put on will be about 1 stone, the maximum, right? The weight, if you're not taking your thyroid medication and you're all over the place and you're not taking it, the first thing that happens is you put on weight, right? Now, and I'm just being honest with you. And if you're thinking of trying Homeopathic Aricept and you're scared, I don't blame you for being scared, right? I don't blame you for being scared. But what I would say from my long use of, I've been using homeopathy for myself, self-prescribing for years, easily 15 years. Now, if you start at the lowest potency, like a number 6, right, take 1 3 times a day. Do it for 5 days. You cannot do any harm. I'm speaking as a very cautious person. I'm speaking as a person who has been using homeopathy, self-treating for 15 years. If you have the symptoms of dementia like I've been having, and you're going to the doctor and nobody's taking you seriously, and you don't know whether you're coming or going, you're disorientated, you can't remember what day it is, you don't know if you cleaned your teeth, you don't know if you've taken the tablets, you don't know anything, and nobody is taking you seriously, and you think, how the hell can I help myself here? Nobody's taking me seriously. What are you supposed to do? What I would say to you is you can do no harm to get Aricept homeopathically, starting at number 6, the lowest potency, and start taking it 1 tablet 3 times a day. Do it for 5 days, do it for 10 days. It will not harm you. It will not do you any damage. If you don't notice any difference whatsoever, if you can't notice anything at all, stop taking the remedy after 10 days. Stop. Stop. My long experience is after 10 days, if you can't see any difference at all, not the slightest difference, then it means that, firstly, it doesn't necessarily mean that the remedy is not suitable for you. What it means is that potency is not for you. In other words, it's not strong enough. Now, if you're in a really bad way like I was, and nobody's taking you seriously, and you want to experiment, then you need to consider getting homeopathic remedy in a 200 potency, right? And again, I would say take 1 tablet 3 times a day, just like I did, for 5 days. It cannot do you any harm to take it 3 times a day for 5 days. I suggest you could do it for 10 days, right? 10 days, 200 potency, 3 times a day, right? You want to be looking out for the obvious signs of any improvement. How do you feel up here? Do you feel a bit clearer? Are you able to recall things? Are you feeling a bit better in yourself? Are you feeling not so muddled up? You're still muddled up, but you're not feeling quite so bad. Maybe you feel somehow that you are a little bit better, but you can't quite put your finger on it, but you somehow feel, I don't know, I just feel a little bit better. I still feel a bit muddled up and things, but I somehow feel a bit better. That means the remedy is beginning to work. Now, if you can't identify any improvement whatsoever, and you're saying after 10 days, look, I can't see any difference, it hasn't made any impact whatsoever, I would say, as an experienced person of using homeopathy for 15 years, that it's not the remedy for you. Because Aricept is not the only homeopathic remedy to treat the symptoms of dementia. There are other homeopathic remedies, right? Now, the difference between going to a homeopathic doctor and doing the research yourself and self-treating is this. a homeopathic doctor has to be extra, extra, extra cautious. They can't afford to take any risks because you can sue them. You can set them out of business. You can complain, and the risks to their career is so great if they make a slight mistake. Right, as a person who self-diagnoses and self-treats, it doesn't matter with me because I am experimenting. I am going where angels fear to tread. There is no guarantee if I went to a homeopathic doctor that they would prescribe me Aricept, right? I am experimenting. I'm doing my research, and I have chosen, after doing a lot of research, to experiment on myself, right? And this is my approach is different to a trained homeopathic doctor, right? I'm prepared to take risks. A homeopathic doctor will not prepare to take risks. And most people would say quite rightly too, right? They are accountable to organisations. They're accountable to the fellow practitioners about what they do. They have to be very, very careful, and they have to proceed with enormous caution, right? Quite rightly. But I don't. I don't. No homeopathic doctor would approve of what I'm doing. The fact that I'm taking this Aricept, the fact that I found it helpful and beneficial, they still wouldn't agree with it. They would say you shouldn't be doing this. You should be under the care of a homeopathic doctor. But there's no guarantee if I went to a homeopathic doctor that they would put me on Aricept anyway, homeopathically. They might disagree. They might say, I don't actually agree. I think you should be taking something else. I actually don't think you should be taking anything. A homeopathic doctor might totally disagree with what I'm doing. So, I am choosing to do with what works for me. I don't care if people think it's mumbo jumbo. It doesn't bother me if people think it's stupid or daft or I'm an idiot, or if it's all psychological. I couldn't care less. All I care about is, has it helped me to remember to take my medication every morning? Has it helped me to remember to clean my teeth? Has it helped me to remember that it's Saturday today and tomorrow it's Sunday? And does it help me to remember that it is now in the middle of the day? Right? Does it help me to remember I can remember my phone number? Right? I can remember things. Ordinary, everyday things. Right? I don't care what you think, whether you think it's all psychological. Crazy woman taking these tablets and she thinks she can remember things. I couldn't care less. All I know is that by taking one homeopathic Aricept, 200 potency, one tablet 3 times a day, every day is working and is helping me to remember to take my Ramipril, to remember to take my thyroid medication, to remember to take my statins. Right? I know what day it is. It's May, isn't it? And I couldn't tell you the exact date. I think it's about the 5th or the 4th. Now let me look on the computer and let's see if I'm near. It's the 5th. It's the 5th of May. Right? That was me just guessing. Wasn't that good? I said it was the 4th or 5th. 2 weeks ago. No idea. Completely floundering. I went outside and I didn't know what day it was. I had to ask somebody and they said, it's Saturday. I said, you never get. I said, it's not Saturday, is it? I hadn't got a clue. I was so disorientated. You know. But the reason I'm having to resort to this is because I'm not taken seriously. No doctor is going to take me seriously. Now, I have already bought the next level of the homeopathic remedy Aricept in 1M. Right. It's about doing the research. In the United Kingdom, you can only buy Aricept homeopathically up to 1M. Right? I've researched this. Only in the United Kingdom. So this means, at the moment, I'm taking Aricept homeopathically 200 3 times a day. Now this is about insight, because I have to be able to recognise if I'm deteriorating, if I'm beginning to forget things. And it's all about insight. And now I'm going to continue as I am. If at any time I begin to feel muddled, really muddled again, and I'm beginning to question, when was the last time I took my medication? When was the last time I washed my hair? What day is it? Is it morning? You know, I'm just totally lost. If I'm feeling suicidal one day and the next day I'm sort of high as a kite, if I can feel there's something different happening and I am regressing, then what I'm going to do is immediately go on to the 1M. I've already bought the 1M because it's very important. As soon as I feel that I'm regressing or I'm not as I am now today, that it's very important that I immediately start taking that 1M, because if I don't, I won't do it, and my mental condition will get worse and worse, and then I won't even think of doing something to help myself. This is a problem when you live on your own and you're isolated, and it is extraordinary that total strangers are, over the years, are the people that keep telling me there's something not right here, there's something not right here. You know, people have told me, strangers in shop, you seem confused, you seem confused. I have people, it's not uncommon for people over the years to say to me, do you know where you are? You seem confused when I'm outside. And I have to say, sometimes I don't know. I have been confused. I go into a shop and I can't find the way out. And I feel totally lost. And this is what it's been like for years and years. And I've been going to the doctor for the last 20 years and I'm not taken seriously. And the only way I'm going to be taken seriously is when I eventually, one day, I will go outside and not be able to find which door it is to my bungalow. I know that one day that's going to happen. And I carry my name and address and phone number for this day because I know one day it's going to happen. But I don't know when. And that is the only time I'm going to be taken seriously, because at the moment, nobody's taking me seriously. I took the Alzheimer test that is very well known. I've forgotten the name of it. I took it online, the test. Now, it says if you score 14 or below, you must go to your GP. I scored 9, and another time I took it, I scored 10. Right? I found it very difficult. I don't know how people do this Alzheimer test, because I found it really hard. I really did. I thought, how do people get such high marks? Because I only got 9, right? But you see, I know if I went to the doctor, it would all be dismissed. Oh, it's probably nothing. We all forget things. So this is my story, and this is why I've been forced to experiment with homeopathy, and it is helping. I'm also going to experiment with another homeopathic remedy, which is also, I've written down, which is supplementary. And I'm doing the research now because I need to be doing it now to be aware of what's out there and the potencies. So I'm continuing to do my research about the Aricept, because the highest in the UK is 1M. Now, if in 2 or 3 years' time, and I'm on Aricept 1M, and I start to regress again, then I need to be thinking, is there any way out there, anywhere, any country in the world that provides Aricept at a 10M? Because the next potency for Aricept after 1M is a 10M, and that is not produced in the UK at the moment, right? So I know the potencies. The next potency for Aricept after 1M is 10M. And the next potency after 10M is 50M. 50M is the highest homeopathic remedy you can get that is produced, to my knowledge, around the world, right? Does also have to think about the future and thinking about other dementia remedies, dementia medication that can be taken homeopathically. So don't just think it's just Aricept that you can get homeopathically. You can get, if you do your research, other allopathic remedies, right, that might be suitable for you. You can try them out homeopathically. In other words, if you don't feel your GP is taking you seriously, and you know of other people with dementia who are taking certain remedies who were prescribed, right, and you think, I'd like to try that, but my GP and no GP will take me seriously, then try getting that. I would suggest homeopathically, because if you take it homeopathically, you won't have problems of side effects. I've had no side effects from the Aricept. Aricept, if it's prescribed allopathically by an ordinary GP, can and does have a lot of side effects. So by taking this Aricept homeopathically, I've experienced nothing at all. And so all I've experienced is positive. Um, I'm not, I know it's not a cure, but I want to, the way I was 2 weeks ago, it was so bad, quite honestly, that as a person who's lived on my own for over 40 years, I really thought to myself, maybe the time has come when I cannot live alone. That's how bad I was feeling, because I didn't know whether I was coming or going. I was all over the place, totally confused, bewildered, and I felt like I'd changed dramatically, almost overnight. I felt 2 weeks ago that there was a marked deterioration all up here, all mental. I felt something has changed in me, and it's changed rapidly, very rapidly, over a matter of weeks. I've suddenly gone very, very bad. I know I've been deteriorating the last 15 years. But what do you do if nobody takes you seriously? The only people who realise this is a problem are shopkeepers. They're the ones who are telling me I'm calling objects by the wrong name. It's only the supermarket who deliver the shopping to me, and I say, what are you doing here? I'm not expecting you till 9 o'clock at night. And they say, well, it is 9 o'clock at night. And I say, no, I thought it was 9 o'clock in the morning. No, it's 9 o'clock at night. Can you see? This is how bad I was. And I feel the Aricept is helping me. So I'm sorry for talking too much, but I hope you found this interesting, particularly homeopathic doctors.